Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. We have had a bit of a content drought in Warcraft Rumble, but now Heroic Molten Core is about to arrive, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything about it. So, first of all, Heroic Molten Core. Is Heroic Molten Core coming next week? Astra? Yes. So yes, Heroic Molten Core is coming next week. Wednesday next week, you will be able to join in Heroic Molten Core. And then, if that's all you want to know, then you probably don't want to watch the rest of the video, because now I'm going to try to look into game files and into what we know about Heroic Molten Core, what kind of changes are coming, and there's a lot of changes coming. Astra says that the small update that went out today was a little bit of prep for Heroic Molten Core next week. The larger update, by the way, with emotes and bug fixes will require an App Store update. I have no idea when that's going to come out then. Anyway, this little bit of prep for Heroic Molten Core is maybe underselling it a little bit, because Heroic Molten Core is actually fully playable in the game files. Everything is ready. If the timer launched now and Heroic Molten Core came out, they wouldn't need a patch. It would be instantly playable. Whether it's fully according to their vision, that we don't know yet. Maybe they can still tweak things, but let's take a look at everything we know about the upcoming changes to normal and Heroic Molten Core. Because Heroic Molten Core is going to have the exact same levels as normal Molten Core currently has, but it's going to have additional mechanics. And normal Molten Core is going to be lowered by 5 levels for every boss, so it's going to be significantly easier to outlevel that. And then there's also going to be a whole bunch of changes to it, to 3 bosses actually, Geddon, Golmak and Ragnaros. And not all of these are nerfs, so just changes. Anyway, for normal, Geddon is no longer going to spawn a tornado at the start of Phase 2, so only one tornado in Phase 3. In Heroic, both tornadoes are still there. Fire Elemental spawn has been changed from every 12 seconds to every 15 seconds, and their talent has been removed. In Heroic, still 12 seconds and with the talent. Then there's a little bit of change to the way Geddon damages buildings, because now it deals 365 elemental damage to buildings when it hits them, whereas it used to deal 165. It still has 165 on minis. This change also applies to Heroic. And the burn has been changed from 60 siege damage to 45 elemental damage per tick. There's also a new Molten Giant on the map. There's going to be a Molten Giant spawning on the left at 555. That's going to start attacking you, so a little bit of something new to take care of. And also there's changes to the lava system. So the lava flow damage, fire elementals and molten giants are now immune to it. Previously, Geddon's fire elementals had a special property that made them immune, but now any fire elemental and any molten giant is going to be immune to the lava damage. Normal Golmak has been nerfed, Corehound spawns delayed until Phase 3, increased income has been removed from Phase 3, the Molten Giant spawns have been removed, all of these are still in the Heroic version. The Core Ragers no longer charge minis in stealth. This also applies to the Heroic version, so now your Defiance bandits are sneakily walking past in stealth will no longer be charged at. And the Core Rager Resurrect timer has been increased to 24 seconds in normal, up from 12 seconds unchanged in Heroic. Then there's some changes to Ragnaros, and some of these are nerfs and some of these are buffs, I guess. So for Ragnaros, Daze and Burn have been removed from Executus' attack. This also applies to Heroic version, and there's a reason why the Executus' attack is not so deadly anymore in Heroic, because there's other stuff compensating for that. Ragnaros' health in normal has been increased from 13,000 to 16,000. Also, Ragnaros no longer loses its gold at phase transitions, so that's going to buff Ragnaros somewhat. Ragnaros' meteor cooldown has also been reduced to 10 seconds from 15, range has been reduced from 330, and it only targets captured towers. So what I think this means as a captured tower means that you will be able to build up the tower, and only then is Ragnaros going to start shooting meteors at it, so a little bit of a change. Also, Wrath cooldown, Wrath is the ability where Ragnaros just splashes lava all around him. Then that's cooldown has been changed from 10 seconds to 20 seconds. So some buffs, some nerfs, some changes. A little bit of here and there with Ragnaros. But then there's the Heroic. And I originally dug into the Heroic files back in April, because it was supposed to come out at the start of May, but there wasn't that much about it available in April. So in these slides I'm going to show you what was there in April, how that has changed, and what new there is in May. So Lucifer Heroic, for example, we already had back in April the health increase, the fire elemental spawning more frequently, Lucifer attack damage increase. Improvements to their Dominators, more health, self-healing. Dominator minis have permanent bloodlust. And Dominators in April, they had this damage reflect. If they're hit, then they reflect damage back on the targets. But that has been removed, and it has been replaced by a damage aura. Because the Dominators now have a Shadow Aura, 26 damage every 0.3 seconds on a 3.5 radius, cannot hit flying minis. So Lucifer was, well, it was furthest along clearly in April, and it hasn't changed that much for now. And then we have Magmadar, and there weren't that many changes to Magmadar. Now Magmadar has gained another health increase. Originally it was from 12,000 to 15,000, and now it's up to 20,000. And then the Ancient Core Hounds, when they resurrect, I still can't quite figure out what they add levels to when they resurrect. So is it just a resurrected Core Hound? Is it all of the Core Hounds? I'm a little bit uncertain. Anyway, it's capped at 10, so whatever it is. And their ability to heal Magmadar for 5% every time they resurrect, that has been removed. And the only new addition alongside the health change is that immolate damage from Magmadar's aura has been increased from 10 to 20. Then we start to get to more interesting stuff. So Gehennas and Shashra. Back in April, they got health increases. Flamewaker Elites got a major health increase, so you can't just safe pilot Flamewaker Elites anymore. Health from 200 to 1500. Lava Waste used to go further and deal 15% damage to base, but that has been removed. And it has been replaced by quite a few new things for Shashra. Because as you deal damage to Shashra, which is the blue one, a lot of stuff is going to happen. Shashra blinks from its patrol zone to the top of the map. It has done that always, that's 65% health. And now when it does that, it also summons 2 behemoths. And these behemoths are really just swole trolls with the Meteor Elbow talent. So they're summoned after 2 seconds, and then every 40 seconds another pair of swole trolls will appear. So there's going to be a lot of swole trolls to fight against. Also, once you keep fighting against Shashra, once you get Shashra to 50% health, Shashra is going to gain Tower Missiles ability. And that deals 350 elemental damage every 1 second for 8 seconds. So those arcane missiles are going to take out a tower on a 30-second cooldown. 200 range, targets towers or Ragnar zone, so can't hit your base. But once you hit Shashra a little bit more and get Shashra down to 25% health, it's going to be replaced by a base missiles ability. And that deals 70 elemental damage every 1 second for 8 seconds, so 560 damage overall. With 200 range, targets barracks or Ragnars only. So now you will have to start figuring out, okay, how do you prevent Shashra from casting those base missiles too many times, because a few casts of those and they are going to take down your barracks, but you can let it happen sometimes. It's a very low priority ability for Shashra, so if Shashra has something else to do, then that apparently will not be cast. And also at 25%, by the way, Shashra gains permanent bloodlust, so Shashra is going to be shooting a lot. Heroic Guard has also seen some changes since April. In April, the health was increased to 15,000 from 12,000. Now it's increased further to 16,000. Then the Fire Sworn are going to split into these pieces of rubble. This was already back in April. The rubble are going to deal siege damage. They're really fast. They only attack buildings. They now have 1,000 health. They had 750 in April. And if they destroy buildings, they deal a little bit of physical damage to nearby enemies. But there is more. Because the new May additions are that Ghoul has been removed from Gar's deck, and it has been replaced by Fire Elemental with Immolation Aura. Fire Elemental is resistant, and every mini of Gar's is armored. So Fire Elemental is resistant and armored and has Immolation Aura. Yup. Also, the Multiquake, the damage that is dealt to towers at the first phase change, that's been doubled, which means that towers will always be destroyed by this Multiquake. So even if you're outleveling an encounter, you will lose the towers. And also there has been improvements to Anti-Magic Pulse and the Fire Sworn. So the Anti-Magic Pulse that Guard does, and that also all the Fire Swans, those Earth Elemental-like creatures do, they also reduce healing received by 30% for 4 seconds. It pulses every 4 seconds, so then it will just keep renewing. And also if you kill the Fire Swan, well, you kind of have to kill the Fire Swan, they will knock you back, they will stun your minis for 3 seconds, and they will daze them, minus 50% movement speed for 6 seconds. So killing Fire Swan is a little bit more difficult now as well. Back in April, Baron Geddon only had some changes to his army, and there have been further changes. So Living Bomb talent, Blast Radius, it was changed to Burden of Fate, and now it's back to Blast Radius. Griffin Rider and Bat Rider were removed, they're still gone. Dark Iron Miner, it was added with Dwarven Ambition talent, but it has been replaced by Dark Iron Armaments talent. And back in April, it looked like Geddon is only going to have 5 minis, so you can't lock Geddon out of playing minis because it can always cycle between the Dark Eye Miner and the Living Bomb if it can't do anything else. But now it has 6 minis, so it's again possible to lock Heroic Geddon from playing minis by capturing all the towers. And the 6th mini that has been added to Geddon, that 6th mini is Harpies with Trinket Collector's talent. So Geddon has Dark Eye Miner and it has Trinket Collector Harpies. Good luck trying to get some gold, I guess. So yeah, that's going to be pretty hard. Also, Geddon's health has been increased from 11,500 to 14,000. It's going to get a Molten Giant with Blood of the Mountain talent spawning on the left side at 555. Fire Elementals and Molten Giants are immune to lava floor damage, same as in normal. Then 365 elemental damage to buildings, so the building and burn changes same as in normal. And then Geddon also has a new ability, brand new Kill Meat Wagons ability. Ignite. Ignite is going to burn the target for 45 elemental damage per second for 8 seconds, so around 360 damage. And when the target reaches 5% health, it is afflicted with Living Bomb. So then it's going to explode. Just that one target, not everyone is not going to get Living Bombed. And Ignite has an acquire range of 15 and range of 13. How convenient, just so that if you have a Meat Wagon with range trying to shoot at Geddon, then yeah, it's going to get Ignite. Because Ignite targets only ranged minis, and it targets the ranged mini with the highest percentage of health remaining on a 12-second cooldown, so specifically crafted anti-Meat Wagon ability for Baron Geddon. Golmak also didn't have much work done on it yet in April. Middle tower is a Dragon Tower. The boss rune incinerate damage radius was increased from 6 to 12, but now it's been increased to 13, so that Meat Wagons will also die to it, because, you know, Meat Wagons, don't use Meat Wagons. But that's not all. Golmak also has had a health increase from 12,000 to 16,000. Golmak Stomp, the area damage, can now also target flying minis. So Golmak can get rid of flying minis a little bit more easily. Also, Golmak is going to avoid moving away from its spawn zone. So when you get the face on Golmak, everything around it is going to start to burn. And not only that, Golmak has more patrols, because it's also going to summon 2 patrolling drakes. These drakes have the Mother Drake talent, and they have movement speed of 3, which is 50% faster than a regular drake. So they're just zooming across the map. Well, they're doing it in horizontal direction. And if you kill the drakes, they respawn after 30 seconds. And not only that, but Golmak also has an ability to make sure that you can't kill it from afar, which is Cave In. 180 physical damage immediately, and then 50 physical damage every 0.2 seconds for 25 times. So that's 1250 periodic damage. That has a range of 13, coincidentally the same range as you would have if you had a Meat Wagon trying to shoot at Golmak. A radius of 5, 12 seconds cooldown, hits ground minis only and targets the mini with the least health missing. So if you have a ranged camp trying to shoot at Golmak, yeah, they're going to get the cave in, and that's going to be around 1500 physical damage, which probably is going to kill most of them, if not all of them. So that's sort of fun things for Golmak. Probably don't want to leave home for Golmak and just starfall it from afar or something. And finally, we have Heroic Ragnaros. There was no work done on Heroic Ragnaros back in April, but now we have Heroic Ragnaros fight in full. All the normal changes to Ragnaros do apply for this one as well. One change to the army, the Pyromancer talent has been changed from Pyroblast to Conflagrate, and Ragnaros in Heroic has whopping 24,000 health. Yeah, so that's a lot of health. And not only that, but Major Domo Executus at the start of the fight is going to come with 2 Flamewaker elites. These Flamewaker elites are a little bit like the ones in Gehenna's, 1500 health, they're unstoppable, they have counterspell. Yeah, the ability that Shasra has, so as long as Flamewaker elites are alive, you cannot play any spells in the Ragnaros encounter. You cannot kill Executus with spells, because there's those elites. And if you kill an elite, then Executus is going to resummon it after 10 seconds. Elites themselves defend themselves with a Fire Wave, 250 elemental damage, 2 seconds attack speed, and 7.5 range. It's the same Fire Wave that Executus has, but Executus' Fire Wave is huge. It has like 18 range, and this has 7.5. But still, yeah, so you're going to have to walk up there and kill these, and then you can use spells. Or maybe you just drop a Worgen, because you know Worgen is cool. But regardless of that, that's what happens with Executus. I didn't see how these would respawn after Executus. I tried to find it, but I couldn't. So maybe they won't keep respawning. Maybe they're just protecting Executus, but we'll see. We'll see eventually. Anyway, once Executus dies, then Ragnaros and its minis are going to gain armored. Yep, and they're also going to get the Molten Armor damage reflection, 40 elemental damage to attackers, while Ragnaros is emerged before Sons of Flame. Ragnaros is going to lose this armor ability, and it's going to remove the armor from all of its minis when it submerges when the Sons of Flame arrive. And I could not find anywhere that it would regain this ability. So it looks like this is only going to be like after Executors and before Sons of Flame. But we'll see if that's going to change. Oh, and by the way, when Ragnaros submerges for the Sons of Flame, Ragnaros is going to start regenerating health. Ragnaros heals for 1% of its health every 5 seconds for up to 60 seconds. Well, it depends on how long it takes you to kill the Suns. But anyway, the maximum heal Ragnaros can get is 12% while it's submerged. And then the fight continues as usual. So that's what Heroic Molten Core looks like at the moment. Obviously everything is still subject to change, but if you like to think about this a little bit and try to start theory crafting on what sort of armies you're going to bring in order to take out the heroic version of Molten Core, then that's all the best info I can give you at the moment. So definitely a lot of stuff coming with Heroic Molten Core, coming Wednesday next week. Going to be a fresh new challenge, and I really look forward to it. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.